Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame, and this is the recap review for Put a Ring on It. So this episode started where I left off last time, where is her name Shay? I'm sorry if I'm not. Today is a kind of a tough day. I think her name is Shay. I apologize in advance if that's not her name. But she is expressing how she noticed, like with her own two eyes, that Alfonso is very much so into these people and doing the most. And she ain't here for that. And then when the date happened and he ended up leaving to go out on his date, eventually after hours passed, she got up, started pacing the floor, checking her phone and all of this, and she's insecure and that she does not even trust him. And I'm like, girl, why are you even with him if you don't trust? Like, it's, I don't be understanding. Y'all don't trust these people, but y'all live for them. And I just be like, why? What is the point of being with them? Why you put your energy into these people when y'all don't even trust them? Like, that's what their situation is. And I'm just like, child. Then we see Shorty and Kenneth. And he went on his date, and of course, y'all know nothing popped off. And she was like, I already knew it wasn't gonna really go nowhere because of how he left me and how our, interaction went before he left for the date. And part of him kind of wonders if it's because she's doing that on purpose so that the date will be kind of sabotaged. And I'm just like, I don't understand why Shorty felt the need to basically throw shade at the woman, talking about, oh, well, I don't think he was attracted to her at all like that anyway. So I was like, he was like, yeah, I think she was an attractive woman, but like, I mean, I was just like he had to come behind her, like, no, she was an attractive woman, but I just went in the right headspace. I didn't feel like really being there like that. I was, too consumed with what I was feeling after I, had these moments with Shorty. And then that's going on. Like, it was what it was. So then they ended up going over to Charlena and Otis, and Otis said that, his date was fine. The person that he went on a date with seemed to have the same traditional outlook as far as relationships are. And, he was here for that or whatever. So she was like, I mean, I understand him wanting to do everything, but sometimes I don't want that because he think he gonna run something. And I've already discussed that already once today when we were talking about Ready to Love. So, you can appreciate one side of it, but then when you see the type of person that he apparently is, when it comes to that type of power, it's not a pleasant sight. It's not attractive. It's not warm and inviting. So, of course, you would not want to have major dealings with somebody who want to control you because they run in the situation and they paying for everything. And so she would rather do like 50-50, so he can't never try to roll up and be like, I did this and I did that for y'all. That's what I'm inferring from what she said. So after everything was said and done, all of the men said that they are not going out on a second date with the people that they went out on these first dates with. And Shay was over the moon, ecstatic. She was smiling from ear to ear like a Cheshire cat. I was just like, girl, you do realize that that's just the first date, right? So even though he was saying, oh, she didn't give me the energy that I usually live for and all of that, that don't mean nothing. When stuff like this happen on this show, they go bigger and better. So the people gonna look better. I ain't really trying to say gonna look better. I'm just saying they gonna take it up a couple of notches each time they go for a different person. So once they really for real find out what they like, and they start realizing that they hitting the mark with these people, your feelings gonna get hurt. And we already see a fight about to break out in the near future because of the jealousy that you already have when you see these other women coming into the picture, because of the insecurities that you have and all of that, which you shouldn't have with the person that you're with. You should not be insecure like that. You should not sit up there and not trust the person that you with. I feel like if you're in a real relationship with somebody, that you should not sit up there and be like, ooh, I don't trust them. Ooh, I don't like, she has almost no, she's basically saying she has like this much trust for him. I don't think she even has that. I don't even think she has that, but it is what it is. You do what you do, and it makes sense. I don't remember if I ever said it before, but he made a point to say that because of his connections, because he helps to manage Rick Ross. I kept saying to myself, why he got his shirt open looking like Rick Ross? And here we go. He actually works pretty much for Rick Ross. But anyway, and I mean, that wasn't a slight, no dig, or nothing like that. I'm just saying, I don't remember if I even said that before, but when I first saw him, I was like, he looked like a nice looking Rick Ross, because to me, Rick Ross is not. Anyway, anyway, so yeah, but yeah, I was just like, why are you so excited when this is just the only date that has happened? You all excited that he said, no, I ain't going on a date with nobody else. Well, with this person, I'm not going out with this person again, but more dates are coming. Okay, girl, go off. So Shorty and Kenneth are at the house and they talking, and he's in a better headspace this time. He says that he and Shorty are on great terms right now. They're doing really good. And so now he's in a better mood to try to enjoy and get to know the people that he's going on these dates with. So hopefully he'll be able to be in tune today. So he's getting ready for the date. The person pull up in a slingshot, and I was just like, I guess because this is Atlanta. Like, if it's like somewhere like Atlanta, certain places in New York, certain places in California, then this is just, there's nothing to see here. But when she pulled out, I was like, why is she in a slingshot? Oh, okay. All right. But anyway, and again, that's not a shot to anybody. I was just like, oh, okay. So anyway, she pulled up in a slingshot. Come to find out, Shorty knows this woman because she used to intern for her as, and now she's like a radio personality. So they know each other. So he looking like, what is going on here? How they know each other? Okay. So he ended up going out there. She's the one driving them on the date, to the date or whatever. He's never been in a slingshot before. And I guess he's here for that experience. Before I forget, she basically was like, I don't want to say it like this, or I don't want to say let the best woman win, but I mean, if it's meant to be, it's going to happen. Pretty much is what she was saying. And I'm like, child. They ended up going to a seafood crab boil spot. And so she was like, oh, you get to show me what you're about. And so he was here for it. He was going to get a couple of drinks and things. And, I was like, I wonder if they're going to have crawfish. Because I've never had crawfish before, but I've always been curious to try it and all that stuff. And they actually had crawfish. He showed her, how to, take the head off and all this other stuff. And so they started talking. They find out that they both are Geminis and, they are here for one another. They having a great vibe. He in the confessional talking about she has a lot of similarities and qualities that Shorty has, that he's attracted to, and all of that. So he's enjoying the date. And I'm like, well, I'm glad he's actually enjoying the experience, or trying to see what the experience has to offer him this time, because the last time he was so in his head that he didn't get a chance to see what was going on. Otis ended up going out horseback riding with the person that he went out on a date with. Come to find out, they are both from the same town, which I was like, okay. So y'all, I have said this for forever, and it has always bothered me. I can't stand when people sit up there and be like, I'm from Atlanta, but you're not. You were born and raised in Decatur, sir. Sir, you were born and raised in Decatur. These people be from Augusta, from Duluth, from Alpharetta. They be from everywhere but Atlanta, but scream to the top of their lungs, I'm from Atlanta. How are you from Atlanta when you were born and raised elsewhere? I cannot. That's just like people who love to talk about Gucci Mane from Atlanta. No, he's not. He's from Alabama, just like me. He was born there, and his family ended up moving when he was like 11, 12 years old or whatever, and then they moved to Georgia. He was born in Alabama. And when he was of age to have understanding of what was going on in life, he was still living in Atlanta. I'm just saying, I just can't, when people, it just do something to me when people live to say, I'm from Atlanta. No, you're not. No, you are not. I feel like Michael Jordan is like one of the rare examples that a person can use to say, oh, they from here. but they were born somewhere else, but then they were raised here. But you could say they're from here because I think he was literally a baby when his parents moved to where he's from. So ultimately, yeah. I recognize that as being okay, y'all. I'm sorry, that is a pet peeve of mine. I just be like, why y'all do that? You from Decatur? What's this Decatur? It's not Atlanta. Augusta? It's not Atlanta. Alpharetta? It's not Atlanta. I'm just saying. Listen, before that girl came out with that song, I promise y'all, when I heard that song, I was like, I've been saying this for forever. I've been saying this for forever. I'm sorry, that told my nerves. That just do something to me. So anyway, they find out that they're from the same town and went to the same school. So they already got a connection. So it's like, okay then. They seem to have enjoyed the horseback riding and they talking and they having a decent vibe. I mean, it seemed cool. It seemed like it's all right. She gonna tell him that he looked like an Otis because she was like, well, where'd you get your name from? And I think he asked her initially because her name is Milan, and she was like, my mom liked the city. Y'all know Milan is in what, Paris or somewhere. Child, it's somewhere that's not here in the United States of America. I don't remember. I ain't going over there because they like a whole lot of good old fat shaming and things. They ain't really here for black people like that. Not for well. Let me retract the last part, but they are not here for fat folks. So I won't be spending my money. If I were to go to Paris, it'll be for free because they are not here for fat folks. I don't plan on being this level of fat for the rest of my life. But since I've learned that they ain't here for fat folks, child, please do what you do. So wherever Milan at, I don't even remember. I think it's somewhere in Paris or somewhere in France. My bad. But anyway, y'all know what I mean. I'm tired in my spirit. So anyway, and then she was like, well, where's your name come from? And he was like, that was my daddy's name. So she was like, you look like Otis. And she equates the name Otis to a strong black man. And I was like, okay. All right. Anyway, I guess they date went all right. Whatever. Before I forget again, she's a DJ. And so she actually was like, if you're free, because they both have a love for music and all this other stuff dealing with the arts. And she was like, if you're free, I got a set tonight. If you want to come out and watch me DJ or whatever. So he in the confessional like, well, it's going to be tricky because, he in a whole relationship. And for you to set it off when you don't even want your girlfriend to have no kind of real dealings with nobody on these dates to really fully have the experience that she needs to have to understand whether or not she need to stay with you, which, I mean, she need to run, but we gonna get into that later on. I'm just saying, that's not fair. I don't remember if I said it or not, but everybody was going on dates this week, men and women, with the exception of Shay and Alfonso. And that was because Dr. Nicole was going to stop by later on in the week and have like some kind of a session with them, right? So she ended up going to their house and they talking, and basically it was repeated that Shay is insecure, and because of the work that he does not have these boundaries up that he should, considering that he is not single, even though he acts as if he's single. He's trying to make it seem like, well, I'm friendly, and I realize that I'm friendly and I need to pull back. And so she basically is like, well, I feel like he does not need to have any association with women unless it has something to do with business or friends. But when I say the word friends, he has a way of trying to use that to his advantage, and he'll like use it in a way to get over. And I'm just like, girl, anybody that got to do all of this scheming just to say, you know what I'm saying, that's my friend, even though it's somebody that's providing services. that's what I'm going to say. Providing services and things like that. The fact that he would have to even, the fact that anybody feels like, oh, I'm supposed to be in this committed relationship with this person, but let me sneak off and do this. So let me tell her I got a business meeting, or let me tell them I got to do this and I'm doing that, when I'm really over here dipping in and doing it and busting it wide open, telling them bring it back, being ignorant out here in these streets when you're supposed to be in a monogamous relationship. So yeah, but yeah, she brought up the fact that there was a picture that had been posted by an ex of his, and that she was like, this is the love of my life. And so when she asked him about it and confronted him, he was over here like, well, look, in the confessional, he talking about some, well, she knew I was in the streets. When we first got together, I was in the streets and whatever. Okay, but y'all are together now. Like, y'all have decided that y'all are going to be monogamous, or at least that's what she has this feeling like y'all supposed to be. So all of that goes out the window once y'all have decided, okay, I'm gonna stop being out here acting like a thought. Let me go somewhere and sit down. I'm only here with you now. And it's like, on one hand, you want to be respected for what you do because you help to manage Rick Ross and promote and all this other stuff. But on the other hand, you feel like being friendly is something. And see, your version of friendly, I'm pretty sure it comes with you putting your arm around people inappropriately, kissing, letting them touch you, and just laughing out like you always do when serious moments come up. That's why nobody is anybody who actually has eyes is not being fooled by what you're trying to pull wool over her eyes with. She is insecure. For her to be beautiful, and that's something that always tripped me out. The people who really are like the most beautiful, they are really pretty, and they act like they have all this confidence, but they don't really have the confidence that you would think they have, because they let somebody like him dictate how they should feel. You should be like, you know what? I ain't got time for this. I know I deserve better. Let me go ahead about my business. Because it's like, I don't understand. She seems like she, outside of him, she seems like she should be okay and put together. But it's something about him. I don't know what it is he did to her, but he got a hold on her and she don't want to let it go. She even said before they left that, we here to go through this process, and I'm not going to let the next woman have it easy. So, I'm going to fight for him or whatever, and whatever happens. But at the same time, they're going to have to fight to get in my spot. And I'm like, girl, okay. The issue is that he doesn't know or does not want to acknowledge that he needs to be the one to set these boundaries. If you're serious about her or anybody else, and you are saying that you're in a monogamous relationship, and it's understood that you aren't supposed to be inappropriate with these women, then you should easily be able to say, these are my boundaries. When these people roll up, all because they want to get close to Rick Ross, or they see you because you actually, like I already said, Rick Ross is not it. It's his bank account for everybody who live for him. I'm just saying it is what it is. I can't nobody say. But I'm just saying, people who look at him, I see the appeal. I see why she lived for him. I see why, just the physical part. He is a nice looking man, at least to me. But at the same time, it's like, don't accept this because he looked the way he looked. And because of what comes along with him, because he helps to manage Rick Ross. Like, want better for yourself. Charlena and Otis are talking, and she's going to go out on her date sooner than later. And he's already been on his date, as we've seen, because of the horseback riding and all of that. And so she wanted to know how it went. He said it went fine. It's been a long time since he's ridden horses, but he felt like it was short-lived and all of that. And he was very short with the information. And I'm like, you ain't slick. And she even caught that, but he knows what to do and say to her to breeze past stuff that he needs to, elaborate on. Because he, even in the confessional, he was like, oh, well, I know what to say. I basically was saying that he doesn't share everything with her because he feel like she ain't gonna be able to handle it or whatever, or it's gonna go a different type of way, whatever it is. I'm just like, that's sad. Because that means that y'all don't have the communication that y'all need to have for you to feel like you need to manipulate a situation and say certain things in order for it to go over somewhat smoothly. Coincidentally, the guy who she went out on a date with, his name is Brent, and he is actually going to be running for Congress or something, some kind of government position at some point. Had the suit and tie and everything on, and when they went on a date, she enjoyed the conversation. She felt and could tell that he was smart and all of that. And it was cool. And the fact that he is the complete opposite of him, as far as his values are concerned, she was here for it. Because the conversation, part of the conversation they were talking about, what do you feel about submitting and all that other stuff, and he was like, well, I don't like that word submit, but you know what I'm saying, like, I feel like if we're going to use that word, there should be equal submission. Sometimes there are going to be things that I don't want to do that you're going to want me to do, and I'm going to be like, oh man, I don't want to do that, but I'm going to sacrifice, do what I'm going to do because this is something that makes my woman happy or whatever. And so basically the way that she thinks is the way that he thinks. And she was just like, I just wish that Otis would see things this way. Because for him, it's the woman is the only one who has to submit, and that's it. That ain't how this go. What they did on their date was, it was a pasta making class. And before they even left, he gonna lie, talk about she don't know how to cook, but she does. So anyway, they did pasta. I was very intrigued because that's something I've always wanted to do, but I'm trying to get all the way back in this alkaline thing, y'all. It's been kind of rough lately, but it's been kind of rough because I've been eating my feelings, to be honest. The truth is the truth. So, whenever I do make it now, it's going to be alkaline. So it just depends on what kind of flour I get, or if I just end up making it out of spelt flour, whatever. You know what I'm saying? There are alkaline versions of pasta. So a lot of people who feel like alkaline is something that's going to keep you from being able to have certain things that you like the taste of. I understand that people live for meat, cheese, certain things like that. You can still have bread, but it has to be alkaline. It has to be all alkaline stuff. Like I'm just saying, there are alternatives. The first time I went alkaline, the meat, I thought that I was gonna miss meat. I thought that I was gonna miss sweets. I did exceptionally well the first time I did it. I'm struggling this time, but it's because I've been hit back to back with certain things that have happened. So anyway, back to the show. My bad. Y'all know that Otis is a chef, and so the irony of all this is that they're making pasta, and so it's like, ooh, yeah. But anyway, their date seemed like it went well. Hollywood and Shorty went out on a date. Who didn't see this coming? So they always had amazing vibes, and they were talking. She actually mentioned that she's tried to break up with Kenneth a few times, but he never allows it to happen. She said the first time that she tried to break up with him, she went and got a whole nother place. He was around the corner, followed her to the new place, and set it off. Some of her friends were like, that's crazy, stalker behavior. The other people were like, well, he lived for you, girl. He doing all of this. Like, you need to keep him. And so she listened to them last group of friends, apparently. I don't know. I understand you love somebody, but you might need to reevaluate. Now, I don't know if she actually sat there and thought about it to see if the good outweighed the bad or what, but yeah. Because she and Hollywood were talking, and she was like, well, I mean, I've tried to leave this man several times. And so he basically was like, look, all men are dogs. It's just a matter of if they learn and decide they're going to be a good puppy, or if they just want to keep on doing the same thing over and over again, because ain't nobody got time to keep trying to tell you what you need to do when you already know right from wrong. Shorty and Hollywood have I guess it's a decent vibe. I don't know if Hollywood putting on really, really hard because of the cameras. I don't know, because he already know he fine. That's the problem. People like him who know they fine, it's like, then look, y'all know I live for Hollywood. So anyway, I feel like he the type of person that he can look at anybody, even if he don't have the slightest interest in you, and he just so fine, you just be like, man, don't even look at me, sir. Don't even look this way. Like, that's just how he look good. He look good to me. He look good. But I don't know if Shorty and Kenneth gonna make it, because the communication is not where it needs to be, and she is seeing everything that she wants in a man in Hollywood. Hollywood wanted to pray with her over the food that they had. They went to some Thai place to eat. And so they started talking. He was like, speaking of God, do you believe in God? And she was like, yeah, or whatever. And he was like, well, you know, I'm a usher down at the church. I was like, wait, don't do this, Hollywood. So anyway, like he like really is here for the Lord. I'm like, look at you, Hollywood. Not you being an usher down at the church. Maybe you want to bust up in the church one more good time. So yeah, I was like, oh, okay then, Hollywood, look at you. So now everybody has congregated at the house and they're going over how everything went with their dates. Otis talking about his date, and Charlena seems blindsided because, as we've already discussed, he sit up there and he tells her the bare minimum, but then he didn't got in front of them and then did the most, and she just not finding out that they from the same hometown. So this made it more comfortable for him to talk to her, and that, you know, yeah, she's a beautiful woman, and you know, he's saying all the right things. Like, he was like, yeah, she's a beautiful woman, but I don't think that makes the person, you know, the right match for me and all this other stuff, or like they gonna be good for me and all of that. Like, the whole time Charlene is just shaking her head because it's like, you're doing all of this and we're supposed to have boundaries, and I feel like the boundaries that were set, he's making them so that they only apply to me and none of them are gonna apply to him. I'm like, girl, I could have told you that, but who am I? She was talking to Dr. Nicole and she expressed how she sometimes feels scolded by him. And he was like, well, I don't know why she feel that way, and I'm not trying to make her feel that way. But Dr. Nicole was trying to help him to understand, like, I hear you, but whatever you're doing, it is making her feel that way. And he was just so dismissive of Dr. Nicole, and everybody was like, okay. I was just like, oh, so you're not here for the process. Like I said, Charlene, girl, run. He is not here. He is not here for the process. He over here talking about she need to take accountability. And so Dr. Nicole was like, we can't help her with that until we address the root issue, which is what is making her feel this way. She shouldn't feel this way. But you want to sit up here and basically be like, what? Okay, that's what you say. Oh, okay, being dismissive. He ain't trying to hear nothing. And the whole episode finally ended with her saying he's disrespectful. I'm like, girl, yes, he is. Run. Anyway, that was the episode. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the recap review for Rated Love. The recap review for Put a Ring on It. Subscribe to my channel if you have not done so. Give this video a thumbs up. And let's talk about it down in the comment section. Do you think any of these people are going to make it?